class of 24 for BC has the quarterback position. Well, this weekend, BC may have found their answer, and it's a name that many BC fans are going to know very well.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This is Locked On BC. I'm your host, AJ Black. Today's episode is about recruiting and transfers in baseball. My three favorite things right now in the spring. You're going to enjoy the episode as well. So, if you all know me, I'm the editor and publisher of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 network, or the gold standard in... Sorry, I'm having a little technical difficulties here. We are the gold standard when it comes to recruiting. And I've told you before, one of the biggest issues, question marks about this class of 2024 has been the quarterback position. Now, we know Deuce Adams of Texas is going to be visiting on an official in June. That's a big name. I think the bigger news came out this weekend. Now, the Eagles had over 40 recruits from the class of 24 and beyond on campus to check out BC, the facilities, see practice, taking unofficial visits. This is what this is called, right? Now, some of these names are kids that don't have offers. Some of these kids are kids BC are targeting, kind of in between, right? One name that I think a lot of fans went to the list for our VIP members on Eagle Insider that popped out was Henry Hasselbeck. And if you are listening to this podcast, I don't need to tell you who Hasselbeck is. You know that last name. You know who the Hasselbecks are, right? Well, Henry is the son of Matt Hasselbeck, who, of course, played for BC from 94 to 97, was drafted by the Green Bay Packers, and ended up the Seattle Seahawks, where he had a legendary career, including getting to the Super Bowl. Not the same career as Matt Ryan, but still an career, and one that you would want to be proud of as a BC fan. He's also the nephew of Tim Hasselbeck, another BC quarterback. Now, Henry Hasselbeck goes to Zavarian Brothers, and if you know the Funks, I know my board loves Jack Funk. I don't know what it is about him, but he's like the patron saint of my message board, and he was an offensive lineman at Zavarian Brothers. Well, Henry I've been waiting, and I've had folks, these mailbags for this podcast, and many folks wondered, if BC would ever offer him. Henry Hasselbeck had not been offered yet, and there was a lot of questions like, well, why is BC not offering this kid? He's got offers from Duke. Not Duke. He had offers from Georgia Tech, Pitt. And so there was some, P5 interest in this kid. What's going on here? Well, some context on what Henry Hasselbeck is about. He's a 6'3" quarterback. Obviously, that's good size for a quarterback, right? Not huge. He's not like Emmett Moorhead, but he's still big. He's right now committed to play lacrosse at the University of Maryland. And I some folks might be like, okay, so then he's not going to come play base football, but you got to hear what told 247. So when he started getting lots of Power 5 offers, this is his quote. He said, if he's going to play lacrosse, he's going to stick with Maryland because they're the best. They're the best college lacrosse team out there, whatever. But for football, he said, I've always loved football, though. I don't know if I'll be able to turn down the opportunity to play big-time college football. That's always been my dream. Now, that to me strikes me as playing lacrosse. Now, nothing wrong with lacrosse, but you're not going to make a living out of trying to make a living out of playing lacrosse. Get some NIL deals here and there, but when you're done your 4 or 5 years at Maryland, what are you going to get? There's lacrosse leagues out there, but they probably make the same wages as like, a substitute teacher at this point. They don't make money. College NFL quarterbacks, you best believe he could talk to his dad. I'm sure he has paychecks or heard about his dad's paychecks. He'd get that money there. So it makes sense. And I think just based off of that the answer is clear where his allegiances lay. He's going to play football. He's going to be a football player. And the bigger question now is, where will he play? Now, he also in that same article praised Frank Cignetti, BC's former offensive coordinator, saying that some of his I think one of his coaches played with him at Xaverian Brothers. He was his coach at one point. Obviously, Pitt's a serious contender. And there's other teams that have offered as well, and he seemed very high on that. But you got to believe this kid has got BC flowing through his veins. This is a kid who has his dad, his uncle, his two sisters were on the lacrosse team. BC is Hasselbeck. Okay? Hasselbeck is BC. This kid, to me, would be a slam dunk quarterback. So it's not just a name. He's got the Power 5 offers. You're getting a kid that has been offered by a bunch of different Power 5 schools. He's got an offer list. This is not like John Fadul or EJ Perry, who were local kids with big numbers that never had any offers. Henry Hasselbeck does. He could do what you want him to do at BC. I think this is going to be the answer. I mean, right now, if you look at BC's big board, if you look at who they're offering and who they're targeting at quarterback, here's who they got. Ryan Puglisi. Yeah, he's a 4-star quarterback, borderline 5-star. BC has been doing a great job of connecting with him. He's committed to Georgia. And from what I've heard, he knows that Georgia's taken 2 quarterbacks, and he's still fine with that. Do you want to wait and figure out if that kid's going to change his mind? I mean, it'd be great if you got him, but I wouldn't wait for that. You have Luke Moga, who has got offers from everyone. You have, and the other big one, as I mentioned earlier, is Deuce Adam. Now, Deuce is coming for an official visit. That's big deal. He's a 3-star from Texas. But what's his other big offer right now? You want to be, left holding the bag, waiting for a kid to decide whether he wants to go or go to BC? I don't think so. I don't think you do that. If Hasselbeck is ready to commit, you take him on the spot. You have to. You don't want to 2024. I mean, every season that BC has been here, or Jeff Hafley has every year that Jeff Hafley's been here, what has been his MO? What has been his go-to in terms of starting his recruiting class? It's quarterbacks every single time. Okay. And when you're trying to start your next class, and that's what 2024 is looking now, you got to go out there and you got to get him. You got to get Hasselbeck. If he's ready to commit, and I'm going to have exclusive news up on 247. I'm going to interview him, and I talked to Henry today. If you want that, go over to Eagle Insider. We have a 50% off an annual subscription. I talked to him today, and you might want to hear what he has to say. I think you're going to enjoy that. Okay. In a moment, we're going to get into BC men's basketball. We're going to get into the upcoming transfer portal and what the Eagles could be looking at, and a name that you're going to want to know about heading into next week. Their transfer coming into BC very soon. We'll be back in just a moment. All right. Now, if you know me, you love the Built bars. The Built March Madness bracket is here. We know you have a favorite bar for Puff, and now your time is to make it count. Go to builtmarchmadness.com to vote for your favorite. You know I'll be voting. I'm going to go with the cookie dough puffs. They're my favorite. And if you want the Eagles to win, then you'll be voting for that too. Support your team, support your bar or puff. And when you vote for your favorite bar puff, you'll be entered into a drawing where 50 lucky Locked On listeners will get a free box of Built. Not only that, but a Locked On fan will win a 12-month subscription to Built to have Built's best bars of puffs delivered monthly straight to their door. Wow, what a deal. What a prize. You got to try Built. Built is the best protein bar ever. Seriously, they're so amazing you won't think they're good for you, but they are. They're 100% covered in chocolate, and nothing beats chocolate. So go to builtmarchmadness.com right now to vote for your favorite bar or puff and pick up a box while you're there. You can vote every day in March, so hop on in and support Built. All right, let's head on into basketball talk. This is Black. I'm the host here. We do this 5 days a week. If you have not done so already, got a favor to ask each and every one of you. Like this video. Do that first. That helps with the algorithm. Then hit subscribe. Subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to this on a podcast app, go over to youtube.com, find Locked On BC, hit subscribe right now. It helps out tremendously. We are on a march to 1,000 subscribers, and I want to help get there. I want you guys to help me get there because we do this every single day. If you like BC sports, this is the place to go. So, BC basketball just ended their season 2 weeks ago, losing to UNC in the ACC tournament, and they're already starting to look into the transfer portal. The biggest name is out there right now is Kowacie, a 6'6" guard from the University of Florida. Now, he is originally from Macon, Georgia, which is right in kind of in that like sweet spot of where I feel Earl Grant's recruiting pitches seem to go really well. And if you're looking for blue chips, this kid is a blue chipper. He is obviously I use 247's rankings. He was number 42 in the class of 21. So this is a 4-star, a borderline 5-star recruit that just has not found his right footing with the Florida Gators. Now, in 2 seasons, his first season with Florida, he averaged 5.5 points per game. He shot 38% from the field, 34% from 3-point range. And I've talked to some folks about what he was going to do. So they were hoping, he started off a little slow, that in their new coach got there in Gainesville, that Kowacie would figure out what the heck was going on and kind of jump up that next level. Well, it didn't happen. In fact, this year he seemed to regress a bit. From what I've heard and talked to folks, he had trouble finding his shot. He made some, he wasn't really involved well with the offense, and he averaged 8.5 points per game. Florida Gator message boards are not all that sad that he left. But what could he bring? Obviously, he is got a lot of talent, a lot of potential. So this is a guy that I think is what BC has to live off of until they can start finding success. This kid is a former blue chip recruit. If you trust Earl Grant, you think that maybe he can fix this kid, because if you can get him up to that next level, then boom, you've got something here. You've got your next guard that you need. But you have to also be a little worried too, right? Does BC really need another guard that can't shoot? What does BC really need? They need length. They need guys behind Quentin Post, or to replace Quentin Post if he leaves. We don't know what's happening. And they need shooters. A guy that's shooting 34% from the field is worrisome. But again, this goes back to, do you trust Earl Grant that he can figure things out, that he can get that team to that next level? That's the big question. I do. I worry more so with Grant on the offensive side of things, because it just seems like, yeah, he can figure things out here and there, but consistently, can you get guys that can shoot? Can he get guys that can improve in shooting? We haven't seen, look up and down this roster. I don't think I've seen it yet, right? And to bring in a guard that really can't shoot from 3-point range, that's a little worrisome. But you look at, you look at the recruits out there, or the trainers there, that BC could be eligible to get. Like in the running to get, not eligible. Like that they could stand a chance. Like obviously, anytime you see a transfer and then their list of offers or teams that are interested in them and power schools, and you don't even bother. BC's never going to have a chance with that. If you look at what Reeves could do, his upside, then yeah, that is I don't think it's the worst. I think it's potential. And you're going to have to wait and see if Earl Grant, who many folks think has been able to figure out what to do at BC, can find what they need in this kid. Now, to me, it sounds like BC it's down to 2 schools with Reeves. It's BC and Loyola Chicago. Now, he had a Zoom call, according to Travis Branham of 247. He had a Zoom call with BC, and he has one with Loyola Chicago tomorrow. But on top of a Zoom call, which shows you that he's further along than just he's interested, or he's there, BC showed interest in him. He's interested in BC too. On top of that, BC has a home visit with him. That's very serious. That shows you how close BC could be. So BC could be landing this kid. Grant right now, I believe, has 1 transfer slot because, ironically, no one other than Quinn Pemberton and Andrew Kenny have entered the transfer portal yet. But they're looking at this. There could be other names. I really still think they'll pop up into the transfer portal. Hope to God it's not Quentin Post. But this could be the next name. This could be now other names I've seen them connected with. Ish Leggett, I think is his name, from URI, who my buddy Dave right at the time and talks about, and he was like, you guys would love him. He again is another guard that doesn't shoot very well from 3-point. I see it. And I've seen a couple of names, but the other ones I've seen BC linked to, you haven't seen more than, they're showing interest in him. Yeah, a lot of teams are showing interest in this guy. So it seems like Reeves could be a big the next get for BC. And it's not a slam dunk. Potential upside, still worries about it. Now, in our final segment, we're going to talk about BC baseball, who continued their magical journey with a big series win in Tallahassee this weekend. We'll get all into that in just a moment. But before we do that, let me tell you about FanDuel again. The tournament is heating up, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because no sweat first bet of up to $1,000. That's bonus bets. Bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Secure and super easy to use, and then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scores in 3 strain. Now, if you're like me and your bracket is already shot to hell, I had Kansas, I have Duke. Who else? Every time I turn on the TV, it's another one of my final 16. You're looking for something else to kind of energize you because your bracket is toast. FanDuel is perfect. You can go game by game. You can go first. Money lines, totals, player props. You can find everything on the site. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game. Don't miss a chance to get your no sweat first bet of up to $1,000 in bonus bet. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Locked On BC, AJ Black here. Thank you all for following. And again, follow us on YouTube. Now, let's get into baseball. Baseball. This has been the story of the spring here. I have to say, I was resistant to even covering this team or even mentioning them after last season when they were horrible. And folks, I love covering teams just because I love BC, but money talks, clicks talk, listens talk. And when folks don't want to hear about a bad BC baseball team, why would I bother talking about it? I'm talking to a wall, and maybe 5 people that are interested in it. Well, that has changed dramatically this year. BC baseball was just off of a week where they beat number 3 Tennessee. They won 2 out of 3 against Tech, who was number 10 in the country. And they were looking to be, they were 11-2. And then they had to go to Tallahassee. Like they're in that Northeast winter, heading off to the road schedule. Part sucks, but it's what they have to do, right? They go to Tallahassee against the number 21 Florida State. This is a huge series, and it's on the road against the Seminoles. The games start off not well. I was following along on Friday, and BC was battling. It was a back and forth game with BC. They fell behind 5-1 early. They scored 4 up, but then the sixth inning hit, and it looked everything fell apart. They let up 10 runs in the sixth inning, and Florida State is batting around. They win 19-8. And I saw all the Florida State fans out there and their writers, oh, this shows us that they're the best team in the ACC, and this is a statement win for the Noles. Go Noles! Oh, all their nonsense that you have to listen to all the time, right? Well, BC, I love Mike Gambino for doing this. They've got their cocky, transfer, and I'm totally blanking on his name right now. Sorry. Chris Flynn. Sorry. God, I was blanking. This kid is from Roger Williams, a Division III school, and he is now the in wins. He's 5-0. He goes out there and he shuts Florida State up. He strikes out 9 and 7 innings. He holds them to just 6 hits through the whole game. Sorry. He pitched 7 innings. Andrew Roman gets his third save of the year. And BC answers. They go right back in game number 2. Head into game number 3. Now, this is huge. Again, you're tied 1-1. I saw the stat that BC has not won back-to-back ACC series, I think, since 2019. So BC, I mean, this is big. They have their third game in Tallahassee. They go and they win 8-2. They're in control by the second inning. They are up 2-1, and then they score 3 in the 5th and 3 in the 8th. Goodbye. Henry Leak does a great job. BC wins against the number 21 team in the country. And the reactions on Twitter are great. I love it. Not just the Florida State fans, but the national reporters. Just last week, it was D1 Baseball, who's one of the big polls, the top 25 polls in the country. They left BC off. And I joked about it, like, what? You got teams up there like Virginia Tech was above them. The BC just beat, and they didn't have them up there. And both of their owners, are the site writers, are putting up mea culpas like, oh, man, we made huge jumps, and oh yeah, you're gonna see. Oh well, no kidding. Now BC has 5 wins. It's March 19th against top 20. 5 already. They are 14-3, folks. They won 19 games total last year. They're playing against Northeastern and Sacred Heart this week. There's a potential they're heading into it. The home opener next weekend against NC State at 16-3, with the potential of tying their wins again before the end of March. This team is heading to good play. They're pitching well. They're hitting well. They're doing everything that they need to win. And why are they doing it? Coaching's doing a good job. The players are buying in. And, folks are saying like, yeah, Gambino's on the hot seat. He's feeling it. I think it's more than that, folks. I look at one of the issues that has faced BC is maybe starting to fix itself. First of all, they bring in URI's pitching coach, Vance. I forget his first name. He's been a magic worker. He's been there for 2 years, but he's really, you can see the difference. Last year, BC was one of the worst teams in the country in terms of walks and strikeouts. They are way up this year. But I also look at facilities. They have the freights. They have top-notch ACC facilities now where they can recruit, practice, and do what they need to do to get into that game day shape. I think that's a big deal. I don't think it's talked about enough, but the Harrington Village, the Freight Center, these are big things for a team that needs it. And so BC's in good shape, very good shape right now. And I'm going to start watching them more. I have to because they're fun to watch. They're winning. And again, I want to cover what people want to talk about. And folks want to talk about baseball. Believe me, I'm a baseball guy at heart. I talk a lot about football on this podcast, but I'm a former baseball player. That's my thing. So we will talk more about football and baseball as this week goes on. All right. Let's go to the comment section to talk about what you guys are saying. Let's see. If BC wants to see at the big boy ACC table, they need lacrosse. If you can figure out how they can figure that out with Title IX, good luck, because they have to add another women's sport to do that, and they've already bloated. It's a scholar. I've talked to people about it. It's a whole scholarship thing. I don't understand. I don't do the business of it's not my thing, but I've heard that it has to line up with scholarships. It's a tough thing. So I think that's a big issue. All right. Let's go. Hey, AJ, do you think BC would go after Chris Ledlam of Harvard from Led Suber? I don't know who that is. I guess. I don't know how much they're going to be going into the transfer portal right now, to be honest. I don't know how much spots they have. Then BC Mike says, BC baseball is by far the best BC team. That's exciting and remarkably sad. I don't know why it's sad. They're playing well right now. I mean, they're a top 20 team. They're going to be, possibly top 15. They're doing very well. And then BC might give the Sox a run for their money this year. I don't think the Red Sox play BC anymore. They already did their game with the Eastern, and for some reason they don't do that, which is silly because the Red Sox use BC's facilities. Why not get them on? But that's my thoughts. But anyways, tomorrow we'll be back. We'll talk more about this. We'll look at the Kowacie Reeves. I had to look up how to say his name. I wanted to make sure I got it right. I found some highlights and I got it. We'll look at where he's at and anything else that breaks. Thank you so much. We'll be back again soon. Follow us on YouTube. Find Locked On BC there. Hit that subscribe button. It does help tremendously. Follow me on Twitter at Gan. I'll be having an interview with Henry Hasselbeck up soon. An interview with Henry Hasselbeck, and you're not going to want to miss that. So make sure you get to Eagle Insider and subscribe right now. It's 50% off. It's a cup of coffee. If you want a good BC content, I've got it all there. Again, thank you all for checking us out. We'll be back again tomorrow. See you again soon.